Another series of activities we'll practice involve what we call goal reversals. And that would be where the expected goal is reversed, and we actually try to obtain the opposite of what we would usually obtain. One example would be to see how many words we can misspell on a spelling test. Or, when we're playing catch, how many times we can figure out creative ways to just miss a ball that's thrown to us. So we might, the first time, just let the ball slip through our fingers. Another time, the ball might pop up several times and then drop. Another time, we might fall and miss the ball.
Okay?
Ready?
Whoa, whoa, oh, no! I dropped it! Okay, so you have to pretend to just miss, like it just fell out of your hands, okay?
I can't wait. Ready?
So what we're working on now are what we call opposite world. And our children just love to be in opposite world. It's such a relief for them to know they don't always have to be perfect and do things the right or wrong way. Similar to this, we might reverse role action. So we might do a role play where Daddy has to go to school and the child has to get ready for work. Or the child is saying to Daddy, you violated one of my rules, you have to have time out. Another type of activity we would practice in stage 5 we call absurd solutions to problems. And what we're going to do here is to take common activities or tasks that we do, but try to solve them in ways that would really be silly or unexpected. An example would be, let's say we're raking leaves, and we decide that instead of using a rake to rake up the leaves, we're going to use large spoons to do it. Well, of course, that would not be the most efficient way to do it, and it would be ridiculous. But then we can choose another way to do it. So we can say, okay, let's try spoons. Now, let's try to use brooms. Or, let's try to use something else. And we could actually take turns with the child thinking of absurd tools that we could use to rake the leaves. The final type of activity we do in stage 5 involves inserting unexpected variations and novel outcomes to familiar scenarios or activities. So, for example, one of the activities we might do with older children involves a role play where we practice together the idea that the child has now just won a lottery, won $1 million. So as the role play goes on, someone comes to the door, the child answers the door, and they're told by the person at the door that they've won the lottery. They're given a check for $1 million. And of course, they get very excited. Then a moment later, the doorbell rings again. And a new person comes who identifies himself as the tax man. And when the child asks, how much is my tax? Of course, the tax man then replies and says, as he's looking at his calculator, says, well, your tax will be $1 million. And of course, sadly then, the recipient has to give back all the money. Now, when we do that, we have to make sure that in stage 5, the child is being treated as part of the team. These are not jokes that we play on the child or surprises that we just spring on them. The child is part of the acting troupe, so to speak. They know the lines. They know that we're practicing opposite world or that we're practicing absurd endings or changes. So even though we are adding surprise, we're doing it, again, in a productive way. Remember, the goal here is productive uncertainty. Let's watch some videos now to illustrate a couple of the principles of stage 5.